respected Baiji, and all the seekers of truth that have gathered here. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate all the people of Leicester on becoming the league champions. You did not only surprise the UK but the rest of the world. And congratulations, it's a victory well deserved. Today we've all gathered here with the grace of our Guru Maharaj Ji to understand the importance and value of spirituality in all our lives. The program has been organized by the youth wing of our organization, and I would like to also thank them for all the efforts that they've put in. And this just shows that no matter what backgrounds that we come from, we might speak different languages, but today the youth of our world is ready to make the great changes if we believe in them. And wherever I've traveled in this little tour that we set out with, the program in Mauritius was conducted by the youth wing of Mauritius. The program in South Africa was conducted by the youth wing of South Africa. And the same has been done here. So this is a very great change in our organization, that slowly the young people are coming up and understanding the responsibility that they have for the future, that is, of all of us, of the future that is tomorrow. So the insight in spirituality is basically an insight within ourselves. Because like Dr. Saab very nicely put it, science today can explain how this world is created, how we've come to be, how a human being is born into this world. The how of the world can easily be explained. And science has done that. Today, with the help of science and technology, there is no knowledge that is sort of away from our grasp. All we need is a mobile phone and an internet connection, and Google can answer all your questions. So this is the boon of science today. Everyone is a living, walking encyclopedia, and everyone is empowered with that information. But if you change the fundamental question, instead of asking how the world is created, ask why the world is created, why are we born into this world, what is the purpose of human life, then no matter how great the scientist you come across, but science itself has failed to understand the why of this universe. And this question, fundamentally, the answers to these questions were sought out by our sages, which were the Vedic scientists of their age. And their knowledge, their experiences, in a cumulative way, is the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Purans and the Mahapurans that we have received in our spiritual heritage. And it is through their experiences, their insights, that we understand why we are here, what is the purpose of life. So it is very important to be scientifically aware of the changes around us, for sure. We live in a scientific age. We live in an age that science and technologies influences every thought or action that we take in the world today. But fundamentally, if you do not understand the other aspect, the insight into yourself, then each individual, no matter how scientifically he's living into this world, he's living with an imbalance. Because scientific progression is the outward progression of man. And spiritual progression is the inward progress of an individual into understanding his potential and his capabilities. See, what happens is that most of us are so tied down with the world today. I was listening to other people who spoke before me, because now we have, due to certain efforts of the premies of UK, we have an app. So we are sitting in Dr. Bhai's house and we are watching the program through the app there. And someone very beautifully started saying that how stress has become a everyday part and parcel of our life. Now, is the purpose of life itself to be stressful, to fight, to retain negativity? Because if this is the purpose of life, then I guess mankind has already fulfilled its purpose. Today, mankind has created so many ways of suffering for one another that this world, which is supposed to be, or life which is supposed to be a beautiful experience, a joyous experience, is no longer a joyous experience. Today, the potential of human being can be seen in both the negativity that human mind has generated and also the positivity the human mind has generated. So what does life teach us? That as beings of consciousness, as beings of the spirit, we have the potential to do tremendous good, or we have the potential to destroy all the good that is there in the world. Now, how do we attain a balance of our potential is the object of spirituality. That one should live a complete and a balanced life. Now, if one is very materialistic, for sure, it has its own challenges, it has its own benefits. A person can be very ambitious to gain a lot of comforts of the world, and we all have done that. I mean, societies have progressed looking for better comforts. At one point, we all lived in, simple homes. Then people sought out better life elsewhere. Cities were established. Technological advancements were made in the cities. And we see that. Every person living in the UK is living with such a wholesome life. I mean, it can be snowing outside, and we will be sitting inside central, heated homes, and the worry of the world is not our worry. Why? Because we are warm and we are safe in a house. But you see the rest of the world. There are so many people living in still developing countries where these basic facilities are not even provided. And I don't have to, give examples because, all of you travel to India from time to time, and you still see the struggle of a common man there. So much suffering, so much strife. But then you do also see a certain emotion that a simple man of India is living with. A child begging on the street in India still has a smile on its face, even if you pull up the window and you say, no, I cannot give you 5 rupees. The child will smile at you and walk to another car and continue its suffering. And then a person of consciousness begins to question that I have so much in the West, I have such comforts in the West, which a street child or children who live in the streets of India or China or there are multiple places where there is great poverty in this world, great divides in this world. And these children are more satisfied and content than I am. So what is the source of the end of our suffering? This is what our sages, our spiritual scientists, our Vedic scientists ask themselves. That if we are born into this world, for sure there is a purpose. There is a reason why we all are here. But to understand that reason in our life is to gain spiritual maturity, is to gain spiritual wisdom. And that only comes when you have the insight to yourselves. Now when I say insight to yourself, meaning what influences us, what governs us as people of emotion. All of us are governed by our emotions. All of us are seeking some happiness, some satisfaction in our life. And everyone doesn't want, sort of unsatisfaction or the restlessness in our lives. But the question is that if I'm living in the UK with so many comforts in my life, with so many technologies in my life, and still my mind is restless, then the cause of my suffering doesn't lie in this outside world. Because the outside world is providing me with all the comforts. My life is provided with a lot of comforts. If I want to travel, I have cars parked in my garage. I can make a long journey in very simple ways, without any struggle, without any strife. But still, while traveling from one place to the other, if there's a traffic jam and I'm delayed by 10 minutes, why is the person sitting in the car getting angry, getting restless? Because the suffering that we suffer is also a creation of the mind. And hence our sages said that to understand yourself and your place in this world, you must understand your influences that govern you. Means you have to understand a very a simple aspect of yourself, which is the mind. And to understand the mind, certain spiritual wisdoms were given to us since time immemorial. Since man has come into this world, man has questioned its existence, its reason to be here. And out of a lot of questioning, a lot of struggle, our spiritual scientists understood the true cause of human suffering. Now, the true cause of human suffering, according to the scriptures, is not knowing. Agyanta. That means we forget the purpose that we are here sent to fulfill. And if we forget the purpose, then automatically, if I go to a place and I'm supposed to do some work, say I'm supposed to come to UK and meet someone. Now I can come to UK and I can travel see all the touristy sites of the United Kingdom. I can go to London, I can travel to Scotland, I can travel to Edinburgh. But till the time I failed the purpose in the reason why I came to UK, I might be seeing all the sites, but at the back of my mind is still restless. Why? Because I know that the purpose that I have come here to fulfill, to meet the person I have to do, to perform the business that I need to do, I haven't done that. I am seeing the sights, but at the back of the mind, my mind is tied down, it's bowed down for the reason I have to be here. And until and unless you fulfill the reason, you will not be satisfied. You can make multiple trips to the United Kingdom and go back, but every time you fail to meet the person you're supposed to meet, what happens? You can go back to India and you can say, oh my God, I have to take out time to go to UK again to meet that person. Now this is a simple example. We are all in this cycle of life and death. People are born into this world. People leave this world and pass on. There's a very beautiful Tibetan proverb which says that man says that time passes away, but time in turn laughs and says that it's man that passes away. And it is true. I mean, if time itself is stationary, time is looking at this world and it is seeing us come into this world and us leave this world. Time is not going anywhere. But what do we imagine? What do we, in our not knowing, we think that it is time that is passing away, but not realizing that it is us that are born and it is us that will one day leave this world and move on. So it is we that are passing away. It is not time. So the thing is, a lot of insights have developed us the ability to question what we are experiencing. And that questioning of experience is very important. Because just like if you want to get the butter out of the milk, you have to churn the milk. If the milk is not churned, its essence, its purity will not be transformed into the butter. In the same way, we are all beings of consciousness, of emotions, and our emotions, our experience needs to churn what is inside of us. And once the churning happens, once the questioning happens, once with the curious mind we begin to understand or question our existence, then automatically certain profound insights are given to us. This is what Adi Guru Shankaracharya ji said. When people asked him that you say that the reason that we suffer is not knowing, then how does the person know what he needs to know? I mean, you have told us the problem, but tell us the solution also. What is the solution? How do we remove suffering in our life? How do we know our purpose? How do we know Gyan? If Agyanta is the reason of suffering, how do we know what is the correct knowledge? And he simply said, Nitya Anitya Vivek Vichara. That no matter what state you are in, whether you are happy, whether you are sad, whether there is profit in your business, whether you are making losses in your business, whether you are meeting someone, whether you are separating from someone. I mean, Nitya Anitya. Whether any action that you are doing is pleasing to you or displeasing to you. But what you have to do? Vivek Vichara. With great wisdom, question your existence, question your purpose. And once you do that, then automatically through the question, what is arisen inside of you, the correct knowledge of living is manifested inside of you, which we say Vivek. Vivek is what? Vivek teaches us the discrimination between what is right and what is wrong. And how do we make that discrimination? So that is the purpose of living a complete and a spiritual life. That from time to time, we have to pause. From time to time, we have to reflect on our actions. From time to time, we have to see what is the cause of my suffering. And slowly, slowly, with the help of spiritual practices, with the help of yogic techniques, with the help of focusing your mind to the moment, to the present, which is meditation, one can overcome the influences of the mind. One can overcome the ignorance of the mind. And that is the purpose of spirituality. To understand the importance of yourself first. Not of the world, not of your car, not of your desires, but the importance of being a human being first. The importance of our existence. Now what happens is that sometimes we are so emotionally led, and all of us are very emotional. If the program takes too long and the bhandara is served late, all of us will get a little emotional, because that's what we are. We all governed by our desires also, and the most primal desire is hunger, And if the program keeps on going and going, so many people will be angry and they'll start leaving because dinner is not served at the time that it was said it will be served. So we are all governed by our basic emotion, basic needs. And if you see in this world, what is this driving this world to chaos, where we say, oh, the time is not right. Today, a lot of people in India, even if they go out, the parents will say, oh, come back home on time, make sure that it's, you're home before it gets dark, because, the society is not good. But it's not the time or the society that is changing. It is that certain human beings have become so lost in their emotion that they do not know with the emotion that they are living if that emotion is beneficial to the society and to themselves or not. So greed has overtaken certain aspects of human emotions such as love, respect for one another. And when greed takes over, when hatred takes over the humane side of us, then this is what we get to see in this world. Recently we all know what has happened in Orlando, where there's a person who went down and gunned 49 people. Now, that person is also a human being living in this world. But you will say he's not a human being. Why? Because he gave in to the darker side of being a human being. He gave in to hate, he gave in to violence. But that violence was manifested from a human mind. It was him who convinced himself that he needs to do it. And in his mind, he is doing the right thing. He is setting the world into order. But when you look at a humane side, when you look at the eyes of compassion and you love, you will say what he did was wrong. But that compassion and that love through which people are looking at that incident now is also originating from the human mind. So unless the mind is balanced, the mind can lead us to do either very wonderful and great things in life, or certain things in the life that we'll always regret, that why did we do it. So that is why our scripture simply said, Man mukti ka karan hai, man bandhan ka karan hai. Man karanam man moksha ka karan hai, man bandhan ka karan hai. So what our scriptures is trying to say is that our sages have experienced all the states of human emotions, all the states of human possibilities through the reflections of society, and slowly what they started doing, they started removing what was not required. They questioned themselves. I am a person of emotions. Sometimes I tend to get angry. And when I tend to get angry, I do things that I regret later. So let me try to remove anger from my life. Let me discipline my life in such a way, whether it's through yogic techniques, whether it's through meditation. But what yogic techniques and meditation is doing is giving you awareness or the ability from moment to moment understand what is happening to you. Now every time we get angry, what is happening? We are going into a state where the reason that we have to understand what am I doing, that sense of reasoning is the first thing that is going away from me. Not the anger, but the sense of reasoning. And once the sense of reason goes away, then anger completely takes over. There is no check to the anger. And once there is no check to the anger, we give in into anger, we'll say things that we don't want to do, we'll do things we don't want to do. And slowly as time passes away, the influence of that anger fades. And when that anger fades, then slowly the power of reason is strengthened. And when the power of reason is strengthened, you say, oh my God, what have I done? I am so sorry. But that doesn't necessarily, every time the power of reason comes back, doesn't necessarily give us the ability to understand when we are getting angry the next time. Because if I am truly sorry of what I have done, then I must also understand that the reason what I did things or say things that I didn't mean to say is because of anger coming and because of me losing my sense of reasoning. I mean, that is the basic cause. So our sages understood this and they practiced again and again in difficult situations, in complicated situations, to not give into anger. And slowly, through practice, to constant effort, they removed anger from their life. They removed hatred from their life. They removed pride from their life. They removed arrogance from their life. And once all this thing was removed, what came into being, what came into existence, what was always there. It's not that something new was born or suddenly human being within themselves, generated something new. Being human is understanding yourself that what remains when you remove what is not required. Because that is essentially what you are. If you are playing a game of soccer, the ball is kept in the center ground, the ball will not start moving on its own, will it? I mean, the game is played by players. If the ball was moving on its own, then why do you need 11 players on each team? You need the players to make the ball move, to make the ball reach its goal, which is the goal on the opposite side. And how will that happen? When a person kicks the ball. So the natural state of the ball is what? It's stillness. It's not moving on its own. Only when an external force is applied to that soccer ball will the ball travel, will the ball move. So our sages try to explain us in this way, that your inherent nature of who you are is stillness, is calmness. But because there are so many external influences applied to you in your life, your desires, your wishes, your kamnas, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what you want to be, what you don't want to be, who do you want to replicate in your life, who do you don't want to be looking like. All these influences are so strong that it is making the mind move. It is making us into an unnatural state of being. And in that unnatural state of being, we experience unsatisfaction. We experience restlessness. Now our sages said, remove the influence. If someone stops kicking the ball, what will happen? Slowly the ball will fall at one point. Because of a little inertia in it or still the force acting on it, it will roll here, there. But eventually what will happen? If no one touches the ball, the soccer ball will automatically come back to its original state. It will come back to its still state. And our sages says, do that. Remove the negative influences from you, which is causing unrestlessness, and what will you experience? You will experience your original self, your pure self. And that is when our sages says that human being has not understood himself, is how we define ourselves. Everyone has a name, everyone has a job, everyone comes from some place or the other, like we all live in some place or the other in this world. And somehow we've built all these definitions to be us. The moment I meet someone new, I introduce my name. That is the first introduction I give myself. So my name does define me, but my name is not my totality. If I meet a person and he says, I'm so and so, it is giving me an introduction of him, for sure. But his name will not tell me whether he's an honest person or a dishonest person. His name won't tell me whether he's a good person or a bad person. His name won't tell me whether he's educated or not educated. His name won't tell me, whether he's going to cheat me or not, or he'll be honest to me. So the name is a definition, but it is not defining your totality. Your totality is something more than the name. You introduce yourself as an engineer or as a lawyer, but that still doesn't define whether you're a good human being. There are bad lawyers in this world, there are good lawyers in this world. There are good doctors in this world, there are bad doctors in this world. So your profession does explain an aspect of you, but it doesn't explain your totality. So what is your totality? For that, anyone will say that to understand another person, you have to experience him. Meaning, you'll have to spend time with him, you'll have to sit with him, you'll have to talk to him, and this process can go on for years and years and years. Now, if it takes years and years and years to understand someone else in life, imagine how much effort it would take to understand yourself. Because as ourselves also, we are defining ourselves, no? As the other person is defining himself by a name, by his profession, we are also trying to define ourselves according to my name, my possession, my possessions, my profession. And this is not our totality. So our sages says, investigate further. Go beyond your name, go beyond your definitions, and try to access what your true self is. And that can only be accessed once the forces of the mind are nullified. once the struggling of my mind is nullified. And what is the struggling of the mind? It is not very complicated. Someone very simply put it, a philosopher said, truth is simple. It is the mind that is complicated. Now, if the mind is complicated, if there's the knot in the mind, then we have to unravel the knot in the mind. When we were in Mauritius, one of the youth people was speaking in Mauritius, and she said a very beautiful thing, and very simply put it, She said that if I have locked my house keys in my car, and I go around searching for my house keys in my house, will I ever find it? You will never find it. You have to look for the key where you left it. If it was left in the car, the search must begin from within the car. And if the search begins in the right place, there is no problem. You will find your key. But if you go around searching for the key somewhere else, you will never find the key, and your search is infinite. It doesn't end. That restlessness, that want to find your key, the problems, the insecurities, the fear that comes along with it, it will be permanent. But the cause of that is us, because we are finding the key in the wrong place. In the same way, if I have to understand myself, I cannot understand myself by going extrovert into this world. And that's what everything, allows us to do. The mind is moving so fast into this world, in this world of desires, in this world of want, that the mind is constantly, focused on what is external. We don't focus what is within me, the potential within me, the power to change within me. And that through understanding your purpose in life, you come closer to yourself, closer to the truth that resides in you. And that is being aware of yourself in the present moment. Now that is the goal of spirituality. That is the goal of meditation. To be aware of the present. Now many people, don't understand this very easily. But I'll give you a very small example. You all have come from, near and far. Some people are here from London. Though it's very good to see a lot of people from London in Leicester after a very long time. And it's very good to be back in Leicester after a very long time. We were discussing how it's been ages. I've come here, and the more we discussed how we've come here, the more I started realizing I've become so old. So Dr. Saab, one thing to check you in your speech, I'm not young anymore. Because it's been more than 10 years since we've been to Leicester, ever since the London ashram was established. But then there are memories in Leicester. I still remember playing in the fields with a lot of the people of the youth wing now who've become so, they are the actual youth now. Now we are the middle youth. Some people sitting in the front row are the senior youth. But there are part of us which still remembers that, because a part of us still wants to remember the experiences that we shared together. And once you remember them, those experiences do not fade away. I mean, so many things have changed in Leicester, but our memories of Leicester are still the same. I mean, everything is constantly changing. So the importance of understanding yourself in the moment is very important. Now people have come here from Bolton. It was my first opportunity to visit them there yesterday. Now say someone who's come from very far away, or even from London or from Bolton, you receive an SMS from your neighbor this instant that there is a burglary in your house. Now what will happen? Automatically, till we did not receive the message, we were enjoying the program. We were seeing a lot of people we've not met. We were sharing those experiences. We were sharing those memories of us in the past, talking about it, being nostalgic, feeling very nice. But the moment this SMS comes, what happens? Our mind goes rushing. I mean, we are physically here. But the mind will rush to where? To our houses, to what we value. The husbands will think, oh my God, I bought the new television. I hope the television is okay. The wives will be thinking about their bags and sandals, that there were the latest, things that they procured. The kids will be thinking about their things that is valuable to them, probably their books or their toys, anything that is valuable to them. So whatever is valuable to us, automatically the mind will go there and we will start thinking. Now the moment your mind is at home, not here, you are suffering. That is your suffering. Because you are thinking about, oh, what is happening in my house? Is this is there? Is that is there? And automatically you will slowly point to your family members and you're like, meet me at the back. The moment you go back, you will tell them, this has happened, we've got this SMS, we have to leave right now. Immediately everyone will get their possessions, and we'll start moving towards the parking lot, towards our car. Now that moment, the moment you're not here, you're sad. You're thinking about what will happen. The thought, the mind traveling is making you sad. And the moment you receive another SMS as you're about to enter your car, that the neighbor says, oh, don't worry, nothing is stolen. Like we call the cops and the burglar is caught. Now the house is safe, your possessions are safe. Now what will happen? The mind is not traveling anymore. It doesn't need to travel. It will come back right now. And immediately you'll tell your own family member, oh, everything is safe. The moment people are satisfied that everything is safe, they'll say, oh, let's go back to the program. We were having such a nice time. So in a moment, you were having a nice time, but because your mind wanders, you suffer. And when your mind is got back to the present moment, you are happy again. So if the mind can be focused in the present, not in the past, not in the future, because our sages try to explain this to us. What is your past? It is only your memory. If today, while getting prasad, someone pushes you and comes in front of you, it is only your memory. If a year later you come back to Leicester again for another program, and you are looking for that person who pushed you, it is your memory, because you want to push him back, you want your revenge. This is the knot that the mind has created. It is your creation, it is not anything else. Maybe the person is not here. But next year, maybe that person who pushed you doesn't even come to the program. But you have come looking for him. So that is your memory, that is what you've retained. 1 year, life has given you infinite potential to change, to let go, to forget, to forgive. But if you do not do that, the world might have changed, but you haven't changed. From a year, past to the year in the future, you are just remembering what you are not supposed to. That knot is within you, and because of that knot, you will suffer. So just remembering your memories again and again is not understanding the present, the importance of the present. The present importance is that whatever our regrets are in the past, we can change it in the present if we learn to live in the correct way. And then what is the future? Today I can tell you all the things I want to do when I want to go to America. Oh, I'll go to America, I'll go to Times Square, I'll do this, I'll meet this one there, I'll meet that one there. Now I can make infinite plans. I'll go to Guadalajara, Mexico, I'll meet all the premies there, we'll go here, we'll do this. But the fact is that my reality is I'm in Leicester today, and I'm with all of you. And nothing can change that. No matter what I think I'm going to do tomorrow, my today is not changing. But when the mind reverts to our imagination of the future and the memories of the past, we are not satisfied. Because within those, the memory and the imagination, lies our suffering. And as sages says, for a moment, forget about all those things. Forget about what you've done in the past. Forget about what you're going to do in the future. Focus on the present. Be still in this moment. Enjoy this moment. You have every potential to understand yourself in this moment, in this present. And that is what our sages give us, the techniques to be in the moment. What is meditation? When you sit in meditation every morning, the object of meditation is not to think, how much I have to meditate, or I have to meditate for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You just have to sit and experience the moment, whether it be 5 minutes, whether it be 1 minute, whether it be half a minute, but just experience that moment without your mind running away, with your just being a witness to yourself of that moment. And once you slowly do that, then slowly with constant effort, those temporary states of samadhi, where we can let go of everything, we can just forget all our worries and our stress, become longer and longer, till you can train your mind to be in the present for as long as you want. As the mind is trained to run around for so many years without discipline, that is the undisciplined mind. But if you discipline it, then the mind can be disciplined. And that is what Lord Krishna also tells Arjun. When Arjun says that to focus my mind right now is the most difficult thing. You tell me with your bow and arrow, I can do amazing feats. If you want to trap this cloud, I can trap a cloud with my bow and arrows. Can you think about it? How can that be possible? But Arjun is saying that my skill of the bow is so strong that I can make a net of arrows around a cloud. I can trap it. A feat that many people will think it's impossible today. It's not at all possible. But Arjun is saying that is easy to do for me. But when you say concentrate on the mind in the spirit, concentrate the mind in the breath, this is extremely hard for me. How can I achieve this feat? And Lord Krishna only simply says that it is possible through what? Through constant practice and the correct knowledge of how to do it. That is why we have to understand that the most important vibration within us is the coming and going of breath. It is the essence of our being. If this simple process starts, you cannot log into your Facebook account tomorrow. You cannot update your Facebook account tomorrow. All these important activities, what I ate today, what I not ate today, your 600 friends will never know because you do not exist anymore. There's no one there to log in to your account, to give it updates, to share what you want to share with your friends, because your friends will exist, Facebook will exist, but the user of that account does not exist anymore. So what is the importance of breath? Have you ever focused? Have we channelized the energy? So much passion we give into hating someone, not forgiving someone, and we keep on remembering them again and again. Some people leave this world with just pain and suffering. Why? Because they want pain and suffering for someone else in their life. So that is what they are receiving. So much passion and so much time and so much effort and so much energy that the mind has been focused in doing the wrong things. When will we do the right things in our life? That is spiritual maturity, where you understand a value of a particular thing and move beyond it when it is not valuable to you anymore. That is moving forward. When we were small, a small toy would be the center of our existence. We would play with it, we would sleep with it, we would eat with it. If our parents wanted to punish us, they would take that toy away from us, won't they? They will say कि अगर तुम खाओगे नहीं तो ये नहीं मिलेगा खिलौना. So the child will eat also. He'll do everything the parents are saying. Why? Because his happiness is in the toy. Now if I say you're 60 years old, where is that toy of yours? You will say, no, what are you talking about? It is not our age to play with toys. But what is happening? At one point that toy was everything to you. It meant the world to you. Today it does not mean anything. Why? Because you will say we've matured. In the same way, spiritually maturing is what? That all the movements of the mind you begin to realize are invaluable. What you are thinking it as valuable right now, that my anger, my ego, my desires, these are valuable things, and you're giving it time and effort, and you're giving it a reality in your life by constantly thinking about it. That is the power of the mind. It creates its own reality, which is called the Mahamaya of this world. And the Maya is easy to conquer. I tell this to everyone, especially certain people who have reached the senior citizen age, because that's the age of, according to tradition and scriptures, the Van Prasthanam. It's time to leave the worldly struggles behind, not go on cruise ships after you retire, but to seek God and go into the jungles and meditate. So I tell them, I said, if you are still struggling after retirement and you're thinking, tomorrow I have to do this, tomorrow I have to pay my taxes, I have to pay my electricity bill. We have a lot of caves in the Himalayas where there's no electrical connection, so no electricity bill. You wear simple clothes, there is no, complication, oh, this sale is happening, should I get this, should I not get this? Living in the Himalayas, living a very simple life, you will be away from the Maya of this world. If you make that detachment, if you choose to come to India, live in a mountain, live in an ashram, live like Baijis and Mahatmajis in a simple life, then the option is there. Then the world's problem or this Maya that you are struggling with, and you are saying that these are my problems, they will fade away in no time. No UK tax collector is going to trouble you in Rishikesh, Haridwar, for sure. So there's no problem. But then what happens is the Maya that the mind creates. You can be in Rishikesh and you can be thinking about London. That is the struggle of the mind, So the mind creates its own complications. Why? Because the mind wants to survive. Like every survival organism which fights in the world to make its place, the mind also wants to make its place. Why? By constantly entrapping us into this world in the form of thought, in the form of desires, in the form of what we want, what we should not get. And once you overcome the struggle of the mind by disciplining the mind, by focusing it into your breath, by channelizing into here and now, then the mind becomes not still, but the mind does not influence you to do the wrong things. You have overcome the struggle of the mind, the restlessness of the mind. See, the easiest way to understand one's suffering in today's world, sadly, is sometimes the insight comes when we see other people suffer. Sometimes. Because sometimes when we are suffering, we are thinking suffering is only meant for me. But when you step out into this world, you travel, you go out, and you begin to realize that other people also suffer. It's not only me. Other people have also lost their loved ones. Other people have also, done mistakes. Other people are also living their life in regret. And somehow when you see that this suffering is common to all, somehow the mind eases your own suffering, I mean, someone very wise told me in India, he's like, today's suffering is what? Today's suffering is that my neighbor is happy. This is the way the mind is making you suffer. You wanted a car, you didn't get it, but your neighbor got it. That is the cause of your suffering. The neighbor wife has the sari that you had to buy for your wife. That is the cause of your suffering. All these things are what? That the mind has become totally undisciplined. We cannot even rejoice in another person's happiness. That is the state that the mind has degraded to. And to change this state, we have to understand the trap of the mind. So a very small story to understand how the mind functions and how the mind can be conquered. So there was a doctor, he goes into a mental asylum. So the warden is giving him the tour of the place. So the first place they go is the normal ward, where there are less crazy people. So what do they see? That one person is sitting in the corner and he's in a wheelchair and he's just looking outside the window and he's just saying Lulu, Lulu, and he's just repeating this. So the doctor taking the tour, he goes to the warden, he's like, I don't see this person, like that he's physically fit, everything is okay. But what is this condition that he's in? Why is he repeating this word Lulu, Lulu again and again? So the warden says, his condition is that Lulu was his wife and Lulu left him for another man. So since then he's been in this shock. So there's nothing wrong with him physically. I mean, he can come out of it. But the shock is so strong on him that he's only thinking about his wife. Hence, it is his mental suffering. I mean, we can't give him medication to that to forget his wife or what has happened to him. With time, he will slowly understand, what has to be done. So then they keep on traveling. And then they reach the ward where all the real crazy people are kept. So there's one room which has a window, and what do they see? That the room is totally padded from inside. And a man is just hitting his head, on the wall. And he's also saying, Lulu, Lulu, Lulu. So the doctor looks at the warden. He's like, what is his problem, He's also saying, Lulu, Lulu. What is this? So the doctor's like, oh, no, nothing. The wife who left the first person, Lulu, married this person. So after she married him, this is what his state became, So now the therapy of the first person would be simply introducing these two people together. Now when the first person would see what Lulu did to the other person, he would be very happy. He would be in regret. So this is what it is, correct perspective of living. If your perspective changes, there is no suffering. But if your perspective is not changing and you're doing the wrong things and thinking about the wrong things, then we are creating our own suffering. So it is the mind that has to be understood. The goal to understanding ourselves lies within ourselves also. And this is what Gautam Buddha very simply put. He said, in the end, when your destination is reached and when your goal attained, you will only find that you have traveled from yourself to yourself and nothing more. The journey begins from your consciousness. You are a being of consciousness. Every thought, every action, every desire to do things, everything that you have ever done has stemmed from you. And if you have accomplished the unaccomplished till now in life, no one would have dreamt that, I will travel to London and I will settle here, I'll make a family here. You all face those hardships. You all face the hardship of being away from, your home, your communities, and you struggled. And now you have made it a home here. Who would have thought that? But it is possible. You did it. In the same way, today we think, we cannot meditate. It is not through divine intervention or Guru Maharaj's grace that it will not happen. This is just an excuse. It is not finding the solution to your problem. If you focus deep within yourself, you will begin to understand that the answer to your problem also lies in your consciousness. If you put the right effort at the right place at the right time, change is here and now. And that is how people have changed. Even Buddha was a prince. He was Prince Siddhartha. He was living his life in royal splendor. But change, when it happened in an instant with a question. And the question was what? That if one day I have to leave this world and go, why was I born into this world in the first place? And that question set off a journey, set off a spark. And that spark, through 7.5 years of finding and searching came in the answer of self-contentment. It was nothing else. Everything that happened to him while sitting under a tree and listening to a word of a village girl called Sujata, which the village girl was saying that if you tighten a string of an instrument so much that it breaks, then what is the point? There is no music. You can never hear music. And if you let the strings so loose that no music can be played from those strings, then there is no purpose of that also. And when he heard this, Gautam Buddha realized that balanced life is the way forward. And that is what we know as the middle fold path, is the path of balance. We can be in this world, but we are of this world also, if we overcome our desires, if we overcome our mind. So the goal of meditation is, simply put, is understand the importance of your mind, focus it on the present, and whatever your problems are will fade away when we are solely focused in the present. But it is difficult to do. Why? Because we want to replicate other people's achievements without the struggle of it. You know, like I met so many people, they were talking so fondly of Mahatma Fakiranandji. But Mahatma Fakiranandji's life is also a life of great struggle. It's not that whatever his experiences were, whatever he was trying to teach you, was all understood in a day. Or were all understood, you know. He also struggled. He had a lot of discipline in his life. But when the correct master came to his life, when he accepted that message from the master, and he worked with that message in his life, then Mahatma Fakiranandji became Mahatma Fakiranandji. Before, he was also a normal person living in this world. But when he struggled against himself, that is what the change of his greatness was. You know, that he realized his purpose within himself. And his purpose took him to, you know, places which were incredible. I mean, experiences which were incredible, which, I mean, in today's world, I don't think so we can even gain those experiences. So one time in the 60s or the late 60s or the early 70s, when New York was very different, and people were scared to go into certain boroughs of New York like Queens. So some premi called Mahatma Ji and he said, why don't you come to my house and we have small like gathering of premis here and you can give us satsang and then we'll drop you back to where you are staying. So Mahatma Ji sat on the train and he missed the stop that he was supposed to get off. And he reached a very like a rundown area of New York that time, Queens or the Bronx, somewhere he reached. So when he got off, Mahatma Ji thought, okay, maybe the premis are waiting outside the station. So he walks off. 2 gang members start following him, thinking, oh, this person, you know, looks lost and, you know, we can probably rob him. So Mahatma Ji is smiling, walking. They go to Mahatma Ji and they say, are you lost? So Mahatma Ji is like, yes, beta. You know, like his habit of saying beta to everyone. Yes, beta, I'm lost. I have to go here. So they, like, in the pretense of robbing him, they said, okay, we'll take you to where you want to go. And they started taking him to where their gang headquarters is. Now, even in today's world with, you know, whatever security we have, there are certain places that no one likes to go. Why? Because you're like, if you're going there, you're inviting trouble, you know. So Mahatma Ji is now walking. Mahatma Ji is thinking they're taking me to the premi's house. but he walks into this gang headquarters and, you know, there are these rundown apartments, everything. Now Mahatma Ji, because he doesn't know fear, I mean, he sees the goodness in another person. You know, when will the fear come? When we start thinking about, oh, this person is bad, this person can do this to me, then our fears and insecurity come. But Mahatma Ji didn't have that notion, that mind didn't work like that. So he thought, okay, I'm going to the premi's house probably. And he walks in. Now the leader of that gang comes out and he sees Mahatma Ji and he's taken aback. He's like, normally people don't enter this place, you know. And this person has just walked in and he's smiling and he's looking around and he's calling beta, beta to everyone. You know, let me just meet this person. Like he has no fear. I have not seen a person like this. And he sat down, Mahatma Ji gave him satsang. After 45 minutes of satsang, that person called the 2 people who got him there. And he told them, he's like, you will become this man's bodyguard and you drop him to where he needs to go. Make sure no harm comes to him. So now where the station is, where Mahatma Ji had to get off, there's total panic. All the premis are called that Mahatma Ji is lost. So all the premis, some people come from here, some people come from there, they're all waiting at the station. They're calling someone, they're making an announcement, you know, that if Mahatma Fakiranandji is here, please come to this place, please come to that place. Next thing they know, that Mahatma Ji is walking towards them and there are 2 bodyguards behind him walking. And those people are scared seeing these 2 people behind. Because now their insecurities are coming in. They're like, oh my God, what will happen? Why are these 2 people coming with Mahatma Ji? And they respectively left Mahatma Ji in the Premi's care, they bowed to Mahatma Ji and then they went home. So this is the power of overcoming your mind. This fear, this insecurity, every negative emotion that we live in, it ceases to be. But the mind has to be strong enough, no, to avoid its own traps. And that is what meditation enables us to do. Leading a spiritual life enables us to do. Because leading a spiritual life is a moment-to-moment struggle. Each moment is a struggle, each moment is a test of the universe. And if you are dedicated, then each moment you will pass this test. It is not only whether I have to sit in meditation today or not, whether I'm honest today or not, whether I have the patience to wait and understand that everyone is going to get served food, so I don't have to hurry, If there are 20 people, I am the 21st person, then after the 20 people have eaten, the 21st person will automatically eat. After him, the 22nd person will automatically eat. But what is this rush that I should be the first? This is what is causing suffering. And when there is suffering in my life, automatically it reflects in my family, it reflects in my society. You are suffering, you are running, you are pushing other people, you are creating suffering in someone else's life also. So this is the struggle of human life, of, a society, so to speak. And when we have correct insights, then the struggle ceases to be. And that is the grace of the Master. He gives us that insight. At the right time, he's there to give us the right push in the right directions, to tell us through words, through simple stories, through experiences, that the path that we have to follow. Now, being dedicated to the path, that is the little bit of work that we have to do. Everything that can be achieved can only be achieved with little bit of struggle. So the world poses challenges, the gurus have their wisdom. It is us to put that wisdom into our lives. That is our little bit of struggle. If we can do that, then we fulfilled the purpose that we are here for, the path that we must walk. We are fulfilling the agya of our spiritual master. And the agya of spiritual master is what? Know thyself. What does Guru Maharaj Ji say again and again? Ki meditate, hamesha bhajan sumiran karo. That is his agya. Because the solution to every problem lies in meditation. I'm going to America. When I go to America, everyone is suffering over there. Though everyone is so comfortably living there. And Baiji will say, there will be one day dedicated to listening to all the premies problems, what is happening in what person's life. Someone's problem is someone's problem is that he's not married. Someone's problem that he's married. There are multiple problems, But why are we struggling in whatever state we are in? Because we are not understanding the importance of the state we are in. We are seeing what we do not have. And we are more influenced by what we do not have, by what we have. And if the mind leads its life like that, then there will always be struggle. Because there's something that you will never have, in this world. No matter you possess everything in this world, all the greatest possession, but if the mind is still struggling, then there's one thing that you do not have, and that is peace. You are finding that, but because the mind is struggling so much, you will never attain it. Why? Because the mind's habit is to always think about what it does not have. So focus the mind, channelize the mind, use the techniques given to you, meditate, and slowly you will begin to see enormous changes in your life, enormous changes in the way we look at this world. And that change is fundamentally important to all of us, all our struggles. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being patient. I know the program has, got delayed in the start a bit, but then, everything happens for a reason. And, sometimes we should not even question as to too much of this world. Sometimes it's good in accepting the way things are. That is also calming the mind in so many ways. So this is the first step. And I've been discussing how to do different programs in different parts of the UK with a lot of premies here. So now we have decided that next year, if I get the opportunity, if my home minister gives me the permission to travel again, so I'll be here soon, and we will travel and we'll do programs in all places, not only London or Leicester. We'll travel to Bolton also for a program. And we will do question-answer sessions with people, with youngsters, with your friends, your colleagues, family members, whoever you want to call. And instead of renting out halls, we'll do programs in premies' homes, And we will travel, whatever. We've done a lot of car yatras in India. Now it's high time that we do one somewhere else. So probably plan a week's tour where in the evenings we can go to premies' houses and have smaller programs there. It doesn't have to be how many people are coming, how many chairs we've put, whether they'll get filled or not. All these worries should not be there at a time of the program. The program should be dedicated to understanding the message of the master, nothing more. So we'll obviously try to visit everywhere. We'll even try to visit Geneva for a program. And so I mean, we just need time and effort. And like someone was telling me, how do you manage to travel so much and don't you get tired? So I'm like, it's the wife's grace. If the wife is graceful, then the husband can travel. He has no problem traveling. But if the wife is not graceful, then then there's always problem leaving your house for even 1 hour. But then I mean, this is the path that we have to take. This is the path that all of us have to take in some way in their life. We have to make certain sacrifices in order to gain certain things in life. So I mean, some people, like if people were telling me in Africa also, there was a premi, Dr. Shamin. She was very angry. She's like, how can you leave Shianji? He's so young for so long. And I said, for a person, for sure, every father wants to spend as much time, with their child. But then there are greater responsibilities sometimes, and that only a father will understand. Like all these efforts are also being done for Shianji to take, his role whenever his role comes, to take this message forward in life. And if the foundation is not prepared, then it will be more difficult for him. So there are so many things that I'm doing in so many ways that might look like a sacrifice, but it's a preparation for Shianji to take this message forward. So these things are very normal for us because we've experienced that. Our lives have been filled with sacrifices of Mahatmajis and Baijis around us. I mean, they've sacrificed their homes, they've sacrificed their lives for us. For taking care of us. I mean, our babysitters were Mahatmajis and Baijis. They were not people from our family. And that's what Maharaj told me. He's like, the greatest relationship in this world is the relationship of faith and trust that is built. It is not the relationship of blood, because your own blood can betray you at one point. But the relationship that you build with faith and love and the trust that you have in the individual, those bonds can never be broken. They can be forgotten, but they can never be broken. And he's like, whenever we were traveling earlier to build the organization, we left you with premis and Baijis and Mahatmajis. We didn't call our relatives and say, oh, we are traveling for a month, or I won't be here and you please take care of my child. We left you with people, we had no connection of blood, but we were bonded in faith. We were bonded in a stronger bond of blood. So, I mean, these things, when we were young, probably we didn't have the ability to understand them. But as I grow older, the more I travel in this world, the more I see the world, I begin to realize the importance of that, So this connection of faith, is why we are here, why we all are here today. And these bonds can never be broken, So one day Shianji too, I mean right now though it doesn't matter because he's very young to understand all this, but one day he will understand this, and one day he too will set out on this path, to make these bonds stronger, to make these relationships of our faith stronger, and that is his duty, to fulfill. So in a way, we all playing our own parts in some way or the other, but to do it with a smile is the purpose of life, Someone very wise said, you only live once, but if you do it correctly, once is enough. And that is true. I mean, whatever we do, if we do it correctly, we don't have to experience the same thing again and again. We suffer, why? Because we are doing things incorrectly. Somehow we revert back to a restless state. Somehow we revert back to hating someone, of poking someone. And then if we poke someone too much, maybe he's not poking us back, but the universe will poke us back in some way or the other, To understand those relationships is understanding spirituality, because then you grow with this universe, with this energy that sustains everything. And once you become a part of this energy, then you are no longer then, bound by, very basic, thoughts. Because when you connect to the universe, your thought also expands, The ability to love also expands. The ability to understand someone's problem also expands. And that change is what will make you a better human being, which will make you a better, spiritual guide to someone else. And we are all guides to someone or the other, When you see your own children grow, what are they trying to do? They're trying to emulate you, When we were young and we used to see Maharaj shave, Suyaji and me both would do what? Then everyone would be sleeping in the afternoon, we'll slowly sneak in, And we would use a tongue cleaner, because obviously we couldn't use the razor. There was no hair. But you use the tongue cleaner and we would put foam all over our face and we would try to, shave in the same way. Because what? You're trying to emulate your parents, So if our children are trying to emulate us, what examples are we setting for them? If I'm running away, if I'm fighting, if I'm shirking from my responsibilities, that is what they will learn. But if I'm true to my path and that knowledge of what I have shines through me, then your child will also want to receive this knowledge. He will also want to receive this ability of you being firm in your life. And that is what the world requires today. We need human beings of strength today that do not get misguided or misinfluenced by what the world has to teach. There's positivity, there's negativity. There's a very beautiful native Indian story which says that this grandfather is telling her granddaughter this story, and the grandfather is a native chief, he's a Native American chief. And he's telling this story to his daughter, and he's saying that within us there is a battle between two wolves. One is a good wolf, one is a bad wolf. And all the time they are constantly fighting. So the daughter obviously wants to know the end, like all children do. So the daughter is asking, but grandfather, do tell us which wolf wins, the bad wolf or the good wolf? And the grandfather laughs and says, whichever wolf you feed, will win. If I keep on creating bad habits in my life, then the negative nature of myself will win. But if I change that and I start focusing on the positivity of myself, irrespective of the world is, if I focus it in myself, then within me, not in the world probably, but within me, the better wolf, the better part of me, the humane part of me, the spiritual part of me will win. But you have to feed it. Feeding it, meaning you have to be dedicated to that path. You have to be strong in that path. And then the path opens up for us. So the universe tests us in different phases. The easiest test is when we sit in meditation, whether we are sleeping under the blanket or we are meditating. That is the first test that the universe will pose to us. And now if I'm sleeping under the blanket and Bhaiji asks, meditation karte ho? And I'm telling, हाँ Bhaiji, बहुत मन लगता है. So other people will also see, हाँ ये तो बैठ रहे हैं, रोज आधा घंटा बैठ जाते हैं कंबल के नीचे. But that the world doesn't know whether I'm sleeping or whether I'm meditating. Now if someone comes to me thinking I'm meditating for half an hour every day and he's trying to ask me for help, am I in the right position to help him? If I'm meditating, then I would be able to help him. Because I will know what the challenges I faced in, realizing that state. And I can help the other person. But if I'm sleeping, then I'm the worst person to ask for help. Because I'll be giving some gyan and it'll be incomplete knowledge. And that incomplete knowledge will misguide that person further. And this is what the world is today. So many people are telling us what to do, that take this part, without understanding the nature of spirituality. It is not about divisions. It is not about that my path is greater than your path. It is not about that this is right and this is wrong. It is you experiencing the world for yourself, but without the fluctuations of the mind. And if you can do that, nothing is good or bad in this world. Every experience is an experience. It is what we take from that experience, what we understand from the experience. If we are immature, we'll say the experience was bad. Because whatever the mind set out to accomplish, the ego set out to accomplish, has not been fulfilled. The ego has not been massaged. But then, if you are free of your ego, then each experience in this world, whether it's suffering also, can be a good experience. Because you will learn from it, you will grow from it, you will strengthen from it. And this is the path that every master takes. Which master in this world, belonging to whichever faith, belonging to whichever religion, whichever way of thought, hasn't suffered? Abraham suffered 7,000 years ago. Gautam Buddha suffered 2,006 years ago. 1,400 years ago, Muhammad also suffered. Jesus Christ suffered. He was put on a cross 2,000 years ago. Lord Krishna also suffered, from the time of his birth to the time of his death. Lord Ram suffered all his life. Which master didn't suffer? But suffering doesn't mean that you give up your path. That is the message of the master. So that is the dedication we have to inculcate in us. And that only happens once we meditate again and again. So thank you all for being here. And hope to see some of you tomorrow in London. And blessings to all. Hari Om Tassa.